Hello everyone. Good morning and assalamu alaikum. So today we are going to start week number 5, and week number 5 is all about family and intimate relationship. So this chapter basically we will try to explain the social institutions, family and marriage. So basically there are so many social institutions, but this is the chapter. As a social institution, we will address, we will focus on family and marriage. So family and marriage are two institutions that we all are oriented, we all are introduced with. We everyone know what I mean marriage and family and all those things. So this chapter in week 5, family and intimate relationship, I have divided the week number 5, family and intimate relationship, as part 1, part 2, and part 3. So in part 1, basically I will try to give you some sort of idea what is marriage, though we all know, but how do we define marriage in sociology? So that's what we said, what is marriage and what are the different types of marriage, and more importantly I will try to give you some idea the different variations that we observe, that we have observed in the past, as well as we observe the variations in recent times and present times. And in part 2, we will focus social institution, family. So in part 2, we will address, we will try to focus, I will explain what is family, what are the different types of family, and what are the functions of family. So in the name of functions of family, basically I will address the activities that family as a social institution every time contributing in our life. So that's what we said, functions of the family. And the last part, and part number 3, is all about changing pattern of intimate relationship, in other way, the changing pattern of marriage and family. As a social institution, in the last part or in part 3, I will focus on what are the factors, what are the causes that contribute to change the intimate pattern of relationship, to change the pattern of marriage and family. So let's start me from part 1, and let us start what is marriage. If I ask you a question, have you ever heard or do you know? And definitely we everybody, we everyone, we have heard and we know marriage. But did you ever ask yourself, did you try to find out the definition of marriage? How do we define marriage? Simply, marriage is something, it is a platform. It is a platform, it is a system, it is a way that made a relationship, that make a relationship between a man and woman. The question is, does it mean any platforms, anyhow, somehow, if a man and woman, if a boy and a girl stay together, decide to stay together, is going to be marriage? Definitely no. Definitely no. In sociology, from sociological perspective, when we define marriage, it is marriage. It will be a relationship between a man and woman, and it will be marriage. We will consider that as a marriage only when a man and woman will stay together, and that union or that relationship will be supported, will be backed, will be accepted by that particular society, by the religion of that particular society, by the law, the legal system of that particular society. So whenever we want to say what is marriage, it's not just a boy and girl or the man and woman staying together, it is marriage. Marriage is something, it's a question of, it's a matter of accepted the relationship by the society, by the social system, by the cultural system, by the legal system of that particular society. Only if something happened like that, only a union, only a relationship, if we find like that, only then we say it is a marriage. The question is, there are some societies, is it marriage is something like only a relationship between a man and woman? If you think in the context of our society, if you think in the context of our society, or if you think marriage as a social institution in the context of other society, it's not just a relationship between a man and a woman. Even it could be between a man and man, it could be between women and women. So whatever between man and women, between a man and women, between a man and more than women, between man and man, or between women and women, that doesn't matter. It is a union, it is a relationship. If that particular society, if that law of that particular society permit, allow, accept, then it is marriage. Only then a relationship will become, and the relationship will be considered as marriage. So you may have a question like, other than marriage, there are some people, they are staying. There are so many men and women, even in our society, though it is not disclosed, it's not public, though it is not public. There are so many men and women, there are so many boys and girls, they are staying together. But if that is not supported by that culture of that particular society, by the social system of that particular society, or by the legal system of that particular society, is not going to be marriage. That is we do call, popularly we do call living together. In sociology, we do call that matting. So whenever we are doing living together or matting, but it is not supported by the culture, by the religion, by the legal system, by that particular society altogether, it is not marriage. Instead, we will consider it as a matting. So what is the difference between, a basic question you may have in your mind, what is the difference? What are the differences between matting and marriage? Straight to a very simple difference is, marriage is accepted by the particular society, by the religion, by the culture, by the law. Matting may not be accepted. And more importantly, matting is something more, it is because of biological reason, to satisfy the biological needs. So whenever you are staying together without any social, cultural, legal support, it is more biological, because of biological demand, because of satisfying the biological needs, than it is social, cultural, and legal reasons. So basically this is the difference. So whenever you are matting, whenever you are doing a living together, mainly it is not supported by that particular society. Whatever and however, Now, the second point I will focus on, what are the different types of marriage we do observe in our society or in the context of other society. The very common pattern of marriage. There are so many, there are different types of marriage, and you will get very details in my lectures, in my slide. So mainly if we talk about different types of marriage, mainly we are very popular, we are very familiar, the types of marriage that very popular and we are familiar. It is, we can say, arranged marriage, settled marriage, as well as on the other side it could be, we do call love marriage or affair marriage. So whatever, so whenever we do call, mainly these are the different basic two types. Either it could be arranged or settled, or it could be love or affair marriage. So when we talk about arranged marriage, when we talk about settled marriage, what does it mean? So marriage that is something like settled by the parents, settled by the family, settled by the religious authorities. I mean, like sort of that you are fixing, and in between the fixing the relationship in the name of settled or arranged marriage, somebody else will be in the middle. It could be my parents, it could be my relatives, it could be matchmaker, it could be anyone. So in this type of marriage, basically, the boy or girl may not be, they do not know each other before the relationship, or that's what we do say, unknown marriage. So this is a type of marriage, I mean, arranged or settled. Traditionally, we had in our society, in our traditional society in the past. If you ask your parents, if you go to your grandparents, if you ask them how did they get married, the way they will explain, it is basically mainly predominantly in the past or in the previous generation or among the previous generation, or in the past generation before the first immediate first one. So what I wanted to say, marriage, it was like settled or arranged, and settled and arranged is something that has been fixed or settled by someone else, parents, relatives, matchmaker, whoever. And another type of marriage that we observe in the present times, affair marriage. I mean, the boy and the girl, the man and woman, they decide upon themselves. They decide on their own. So other than this type of marriage, I mean, settlement or love marriage or affair marriage, whatever, there are some other types of marriage. That is like whether you are getting a marriage between a man and woman together, or marriage between a man and many women together at a time, a relationship between a man and women at a time, at the same time, or a relationship, a marriage between a man and many women, or between a woman and many men, or a group of men with a group of women, or a marriage between cousins, or whatever. So there are some other types of marriage. As I said, mainly it is either settled or love or affair marriage. Then it is based on the relationship between men and women, between a man and many women, between a women and many men, or between cousins, or between a group of men and women, whatever is it, we do divide it as monogamy, polygyny, polyandry, cousin marriage, group marriage, etc., etc., etc. So all those things you will find details in my slide. And the last topic I want to focus in this video in part one, that is like, what are the different variations? What are the different variations? And what do you observe? What do you observe in our everyday life, in our intimate relationship? I mean, the relationship, what are the factors? Even you can say, what are the factors? What factors matter? What factors matter to marry someone? To get marry someone. Whenever I do get married, what are the factors? What things matters? There are some socio-cultural, religious things that matters. Doesn't matter affair or doesn't matter it is settled. There are some variations and there are some factors behind the variations. What do you mean by that? What do I mean by that? Look, so class, I can say, for example, the social class, it matters. Whenever you're going to get married someone, the class, it matters. The class you belong to, it matters. For what? Whether you are going to the home or the legal or the women you are going to get married. So social class, and whenever we are talking about social class, it includes like not only the economy, also economy matters. Other than that, some other issues. Race matters. Race also matters whenever you're going to get married. Your ethnic community, ethnic group, ethnicity, it matters. So based on these, some other factors also as well, social factors, economic factors, religious factors, ethnicity, race, all those things together, you will find like there are variations in the pattern of, in the type of a relationship then you are having with a man or with a woman, or between a man and a woman. These things that matters. So if you observe in our society, it's not all about marriage. There are some other things you also can consider. You will also find in the pattern of intimate relationship, like single mother family, single father family, or would you observe also, it's not all about the good things and positive things you always find in the name of marriage, in the name of relationship, in the name of social, cultural, legally supported things in marriage. If you have a look in our society, you will observe something very common. What is that? And the number is increasing, the things is increasing. What is that? Divorce, separation, breakup. So whenever you are having a relationship with someone, settled or arranged, whatever the types of marriage, recently, and not only in my country, all over the world, something we do call divorce or separation or breakup, whatever, is increasing. And why does it increase? This could be a question. This could be something you should ask yourself. Whenever you have had or have a relationship, or as affair, as settle, as love, whatever it is, so you had a like sort of social, cultural, legal agreement. But the question is, nowadays you observe something in our society in the name of divorce, separation or breakup. So it could be a question to ask yourself why it happens. Once again, if you have a look, why it happens, what are the factors that contribute to take separation or to be divorced. And once again, as class, religion, ethnicity, race matters behind getting married, the same factors may contribute. Economic factors, social class, religious factors, ethnicity, race. These are the factors also contribute behind divorce. Other than that, behind separation, behind breakup. Other than that, nowadays we do find something like freedom, individualism. I mean, freedom and individualism. Someone wants to, or I may want, or you may want, or someone, or one of them, or both of them, they decide not to continue because the conflict between husband and wife. Conflict of what? Conflict of interest, conflict of opinion, conflict of the way husband wants his way of life. Maybe the wife wants different way. So if that doesn't work, in the name of individualism, in the name of freedom, they want divorce. Whatever. So this is something, I mean, these are some basic idea I wanted to give you from part one, how the social institution, marriage, what is marriage, what are the different types of marriage, and what are the factors that contribute, that bring, that put a man and woman in the name of marriage together in the same platform, as well as at the same time in the name of freedom, in the name of class, in the name of opinion, in the name of empowerment, in the name of individualism, the factors, in the name of conflict of interest, in the name of conflict of this and that, how these factors also creating variations or contributing to divorce. So that's all about part 1. Part 2, we will focus about another institution, family, and see you soon for part 2. Allah Hafiz and Assalamu Alaikum.